Hello, everybody. This is the Aquarian Medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to just do a really quick video and show you guys how I work. As an observer, when we are looking in a astrological chart, or we are wanting to go deeper in depth with our conversation with those who are not in the physical, we can pull the chart up as it is in transit, as we are thinking about that person. So this morning, I'm looking at the transits for the Venus Pluto conjunction that has taken place on December 11th and the 25th, Christmas morning. I'm looking at certain energies that are feeding off of one another throughout December that have to do with JFK Jr. And so, as well as China, the COVID, all that good jazzy junk. Anyway, so I start listening to a lecture that I've listened to several times. Manly Hall's Golden Chain of Homer that binds heaven and earth is a really good one. And I've been listening to and reading. Manly Hall has always been my go-to. That's where I feel balance. He balances me. His energies just have always balanced me. And so I love listening to his lectures, reading his material when I'm, straightening up around the house, yada, yada. As I'm listening to the lecture, I remember he rises with an Aquarian moon that does go to the energies that I'm looking at with the COVID, with John Jr. And it's the moon. You can see it on here on the left. As soon as he rises in Aquarius and he meets this visionary. He's a visionary about the future, and he is always reflecting ahead. He plays the tape all the way through. So this 2739 does go hand in hand with the energies that I was looking at this morning. I pull up the transits and I ask for Manly to speak to me through the transits. And I want to show you how that works, how that worked. So this 2739, at the time that I pulled the chart up, it was 9/18/56 Nashville time. And the vertex, as you can see here in the seventh house, I'm at home. And in the seventh house, the vertex is in Leo at 2739. The anti-vertex is also here at 2739 because they're the same degree. So we are meeting the moon. We are seeing, understanding the visions of Manly Hall when it comes to the Golden Chain of Homer. Then, as you can see, the third house, 1, 2, 3, the third house right here, there's a lot of action. This is where the action is taking place. And it begins with 1511 at this time, which hits his Saturn. And then his communication is 1457 here in the third house of Taurus. And the midheaven is at 1459. Poseidon, that brings wisdom, here in the ninth house is 1456. And I'm looking at what is hidden here in the eighth house of death, rebirth, and regeneration. His soul worker here with Vesta. This is where we give service through our soul work. And his was public. His soul work was always giving service to other people. That is how he will always be remembered, via his soul work. This 446, as you can see, the physician Apollo here in the ninth house is 446. The sun here is shining. It's shining in the house of groups at 1846, and his joy in the first house with God is 1848. So I just wanted you guys to just kind of see that when we are observing with astrological transits, we can get a conveyance about what is actually taking place. Like this 828, these values, this house of values with this 828, these two right here are calling on me to look at Edgar Casey. And so these two, that are in conversation are talking to me about this doorway of 1222. This is Edgar Casey's moon. His moon reflects with this 1222 in the seventh house. So I'm really connecting here. I'm connecting to both events. And this morning, like I said, I'm looking at the Pluto Venus exact conjunction on the 11th, on the 25th. I'm looking at how they are interacting with China, with the COVID chart, with the JFK chart, the junior chart, because if you've been subscribed to my channel for any length of time, then you know that whether it's cuckoo or not, there is a definite pulling. It pulls me to forget what I think I know and think about this Pluto return in a literal sense, like a resurrection of the dead. And this resurrection of the dead would be where Casey says that the hope of the world will come out of Russia, or that the hope of the world, is going to show up. And so this number that goes to the Pluto return is 2732. So because I keep seeing Edgar Casey also in this chart, I pull him up and then I understand why. Is because the 1105 that is in transit is his intense experience with children, with his father, and even with his grandfather. And then this 202, how he teaches, what he teaches. He's a master teacher of intuition. And this 202 is in transit with Ceres. There's a lot of energy with Ceres here in the fourth house of home. It's mental, right? The 2457 that he has here in the 11th house, Venus just transited through that 2457. And this morning I was also looking at him. So that makes sense. The observer with energies matters. It literally matters. So when I tell people, I don't necessarily have to have a birth chart when I'm looking and I'm investigating. It's because as an observer, I'm able to see what I need to see, even though this chart is for Nashville. There's a lot of people in Nashville, but it's not pulling those people. It's pulling what I want to see, what I need to see. It's pulling that. And this morning, my Pluto degree at 319 is in transit with Cupid here in the 12th house. And I could just go on and on and on about what I see here, and the wound, these values, is what Casey transformed. He transformed his wound into giving service and making right relations here that not only made his health better, but other people's as well. And you may also find this interesting is that the first conjunction of Pluto and Venus comes on the 11th, and then the next one on Christmas morning. So on the 11th, the event is rising with my midheaven here in Nashville. It will begin in the 12th house in Capricorn at 2519. And the contact that was made via Edgar Casey, on November 20th with me at 3:35 in the afternoon hit my Poseidon. My Poseidon is 2118. And so the 2519 was the midheaven. And I wasn't real sure, other than he was conveying the earth changes, that things were going to quickly start taking place, and wasn't real sure why this 2738. But then I realized, yeah, that is going to a lot of major events when it comes to the earth. The earth changes. And again, Manly Hall rises with 2739. The Pluto return is 2732. So I look and I'm thinking, I wasn't real sure why it was rising with the 1108 for the future event to come. But today I do notice that not only does it convey the conjunction on the 11th, but it's also showing me that there is a weight. There's a mental, emotional weight that is coming with this conjunction at home, and it's devouring. It devours at home our health. The earth changes that Edgar Casey foresaw, that Manly Hall, Jesus Christ, all of the great thinkers, great philosophical thinkers before us tell a story. And these stories are coming to a head. And the Christ chart that I read, I won't bore you with all of the numbers and confuse you, but the Christ energy shows up in different events, different charts. And that too tells a story of this higher state of consciousness that is at work as well. This 9:52 on the 11th at 10:28:52 a.m. Nashville, Tennessee time, the Saturn is in the 12th house transiting, going into the 9:53, which is Edgar Casey's lunar nodes. Not only is this how I work, I take everything into consideration, including the numbers, because numbers are frequencies. They are vibratory energies that are always transferring from one energy, one archetype to the other. So I hope that you found this somewhat interesting and not boring, and somewhat understand what I'm trying to convey to you guys. There's other things to see here, but I just wanted to show you just a quick little video about the different ways that we can be an observer with energy, because all energy is based off of observation. All right. So hope you enjoyed this. We'll talk to you soon. I'm going to get another video prepared as quick as I can. Time is limited right now, so I'm going to try to do the very best that I can, and I will see you guys soon. All right. You guys take care. Peace out.